bed. Just once. And a shower. Okay, Charlie?
Jimmy, do you want to come to a party?
We're not staying.
216.
Look, we can find somewhere good for half of this. Wait here.
That money if it's the last thing I do. I saw it first.
Sam, my girlfriend. Long dark hair, red top. Doesn't want to see you.
Mr. Nicola, now you've brought your daughter's body back from Jakarta, are you going to press for an inquest?
It was more than a year ago, on the other side of the world. Suspects aren't going to fly over for an inquest and incriminate themselves.
You know me, Henry. I never take no for an answer.
Pilgrim.
Oh, very good.
I hear you're taking a sabbatical.
Finishing a little book. The final push. The Baron's pleased. He's got me at home to cook us breakfast.
Henry's writing a book.
Henry? What sort of book? I don't see how he's got the time.
Some people use their spare time, miss. May I warn you, gentlemen and ladies, make hay while the sun shines. The government wants to lower your fees.
Is this true about a book, Henry? Oh, it's a wind-up.
Any multiple murders? Any celebs wanting defending for assault? Non-payment of parking fines? Anything?
I've got 2 plum jobs for you, Mr. Farmer, sir. Plenty potatoes.
I'm on the Samantha Nicola inquest and nothing else for the time being.
Ain't gonna happen. Council's flat broke. They're not gonna fly people in from the Far East and put them up in hotels for weeks. No way.
I doubt the coroner would let that affect his judgment. Who is it at Kentish Town?
Cecil Greenaway.
Ooh.
I hear you've got Amina the Hun instructing you, Henry.
Anita.
Old-fashioned expression, ma'am?
Old-fashioned person.
Hot. That's the expression I'd use for Amina Lang. Hot.
All finished, have you?
Oh, don't tell me. You're offering me some really crappy and tiring work.
Only if you're free. Thanks for the shares tip. Done quite well, I think.
Yeah, amazing man, my Uncle Ted.
You should invest yourself.
What with?
I know you don't like doing this, but the press follow him whenever he goes out.
What time is this supposed to be?
They're here.
Sisters, this is Henry Farmer. And,
I'm sorry about Sam.
This way. The Foreign Office. First they tell me I can't get a visa. Then they try to stop me seeing her body because it might upset me. Upset.
She was a talented musician, wasn't she?
When she started school, she used to cling to me so tight I was having her lessons too. Because they couldn't get her off me. Sophie's different. She's the independent one.
What do you think happened to Sam?
She was raped on the balcony and pushed over. I saw her body. Bruises and scratches on her thighs. You can even see the thumb marks where her thighs were forced apart. In the post-mortem, nothing. These are the people who were at the party. Oh, we see nothing. We know nothing.
Flight crew?
Mostly. 4 of the men are gay, and a German diver was drunk and incapable. So that leaves 3 male suspects.
Assuming whoever had sex with her also pushed her over.
How did you get all these?
Some from the papers, some I take myself, some from a girl who was at the party.
Who's this?
Somebody called Jimmy. He invited them to the party, but we don't know who he is. He wasn't staying at the hotel. Nobody at the party remembers him. Maybe he didn't stay long. These are the bastards we want. McConnell and Stevens.
McConnell had this stewardess, Gwen Rogers, hanging on him all night. She's his alibi, but most of the guests confirm it.
The sperm in the body. Are we sure it wasn't?
Not mine. We hadn't made love for a few days.
sorry, Henry. This is Charlie Spiros, Sam's fiancé. We got his DNA to eliminate him.
Charlie's at St. Thomas's. Going to be a doctor like his dad was.
Costas is a bit short-staffed, so I'm earning some pocket money.
We really shouldn't be in the same room, Charlie.
What are you talking about?
He'll be a witness to the inquest. Mr. Farmer's read your statement.
Well, just wait.
I was wondering, there were quite a few people in the room. Nobody heard any struggle on the balcony.
My daughter's a slag. Is that what you think? Tell him. To hell with the rules. Tell him.
The music was pretty loud. I don't know why no one complained.
We need strong evidence pointing to rape and away from consensual sex to establish a motive for murder. We don't have that. You better disappear.
Look, 2 officers from the Met go out there and they say this is very suspicious.
Suspicious is not enough.
I'm gonna get these people. Are you with us or not?
Inquests don't often come up with the answers people want. We're supposed to ask our questions and be grateful for what we get. If witnesses think they'll incriminate themselves, they can say nothing. A coroner's court isn't much like a court of law.
So why you want to do it?
Maybe. If I was in your position, I'd feel the same way.
I know it wasn't an accident. I know.
Maybe you're right. But if I'm going to represent you, no more going after witnesses. Leave that to Amina.
You sound like my wife. Okay, you don't want to do it? I don't care.
I wasn't saying...
I don't need no doubting Thomas. I'll get myself a barrister with balls.
Stevens and McConnell won't come for the inquest anyway.
Well, there's always the media. Maybe I can persuade them.
What do we know about Stevens and McConnell?
Well, They own Ramallah Beach Shop in Bondi, a couple of minor assault charges, recreational drugs.
Get on to Sydney Police, get their records in detail. Have you had a DNA test on the sperm?
It's coming. Don't think badly of Costas.
Been sacked, haven't I?
They'll forget about this tomorrow.
I like them difficult.
Holly Graham, City Page. Can you confirm that everyone who's bought shares through your express line has actually received certificates? I've told you who I am. You can ring me back if you like. Maybe you could tell me who you are and whether you actually have an office at 6 Raleigh Square. Yes, I know you have a London number, but they can easily be diverted to offices abroad, can't they, Mr... Hello? Hello?
It's me. Hull?
Drink?
No, I better.
Living room's here. But you know that. Probably been here scores of times. The all-party trip to Jordan got cancelled. Go on. I might be dead tomorrow.
You look better.
They put me on some new chemo. Mice with malignant prostates, still living years after. Mouse years, anyway.
Hang on in there.
I'd rather it was you than a line of studs. So cheers.
I better go. This is daft.
I mean it, really. You have my blessing. I think you'll be good for her.
I've always had this suspicion you don't want to let her go, Jerry.
I can't take her with me where I'm off. She likes you. I like men. What's the point? We're more like brother and sister. She's gorgeous, of course, you know that. And with 4,000 Catholic constituents, having a wife helps.
Oh, God, you didn't get my text?
My phone was off.
She tried.
Stop being nice, Jerry. I can't stand it.
Stay and have a drink?
Thanks. Better go.
I'm so sorry. What did you talk about?
Mice.
Can we have dinner?
Sure. I'll see you.
I'm afraid as coroner, I sometimes have to make difficult decisions. I've just read the new autopsy report I asked for from Dr. Durkin. He veers towards the Indonesian doctor. Accidental death, much more likely. So I'm happy to leave it there, no inquest necessary.
Can we see his report?
Of course, I'll make the principal conclusions public.
But can my client see the full report? I hope you understand the media interest in this. It's a front-page story.
Oh, yes. An inquest can only be another ordeal for the family. You must try and accept it was just a tragic accident. She simply fell while under the influence. Probably after casual sex.
They can't accept it if they don't believe it. What about the marks on her thighs?
After death, perhaps when the body was moved?
That's crap.
Did Dr. Durkin consider testing the semen?
What would be the point?
We're ahead of him on that one. I was going to present the lab results in the inquest, Cecil. I suppose we could take it to an appeal. DNA says there were 2 blokes.
Intercourse with 2 men does not prove she was raped.
Try telling that to the tabloids.
We'll be having a new autopsy anyway, and we'll publish the findings in full.
Professor Peter Krieger, Samantha Nicolau. Autopsy for the Nicolau family begins 11 a.m.
Forensic don't look, huh?
I think we should stop now.
Now? We made that bloody coroner change his mind. We've got a new autopsy and an inquest starting tomorrow.
I'm going skating. Charlie's got a lecture, so he's going to give me a lift. You okay, Mum?
I'm fine. Go on. Yes.
Have you seen those two?
I'm talking about Sam. She's not a body to be dragged out and cut up over and over again. You heard what the barrister said. We'll maybe never know.
No.
She was a lovely girl. And she's dead. And I want to bury her.
If we go weak now, it'll all be for nothing, and we'll never get those bastards.
How are you going to pay fees?
The body wasn't discovered until early the next morning when the security guard was doing his rounds. The deceased's watch had stopped at 2:07. The balcony was guarded by a barrier just under 4 feet in height.
I imagine it would be quite easy to fall if you were drunk.
Only if you were fooling about, climbing or sitting on it.
May I ask, Detective Sergeant Johnson, how easy would it be to throw someone over the balcony? A person of Samantha's size and weight.
Very easy.
Cool phone, Dad. Thanks. Can you do one in your wig?
Am I what?
Honestly, nobody here believes it.
No way.
Oh!
No. What time is it in Sydney? Shouldn't you be asleep? Have a good day. Hello, Alfie. What's wrong with Jack?
Not happy at all. A little bird has told him that some lawyer in your chambers is writing a book about London gangs.
He's been left out of it. Shame.
He don't want to be in it. He's done some terrible things in the old days. Terrible.
Only to people who deserved it. And I believe him.
He is a gentleman. And he's got a nice new young wife who doesn't know, well, you know, the whole story, the this and the that.
Ah!
Tell your mum it's time you came over for a visit.
You just fight.
Wouldn't?
It's good you and Jerry talked.
It's what you wanted, wasn't it?
No. No, Henry.
The two men in your life, the power.
I care about him. I love you.
Whatever he says, he doesn't want to let you go.
He's dying.
He says he isn't now.
What did he say?
Well, good luck to him. He looks better.
They want to keep his spirits up so they change the treatment, try something else. Henry, it's...
Okay, we're on a roll. Craig Stevens' criminal record. Most recent, convicted in Sydney for possession of ecstasy and GHB.
Is that worse than GBH?
It's a date rape drug. He had a few drops. He said he didn't know what it was, got away with a fine. The feeling seems to be the beach shop might allow a bit of dealing on the side.
Amina Lang.
Polly Graham.
Hi. Can we talk?
I'll be with you in a minute.
Worked together before?
No.
Got the feeling you were old friends. Listen, I would have mentioned this before, but the business with Jerry knocked it out of my head.
Look, I hope Jerry lives for another 50 years, but not with you.
Listen, did you say you had investments with Standard Rally?
Yes. Ben's uncle recommended them.
Have you had the share certificates?
Don't know.
What happens when you try to sell?
No need. They're doing very nicely. Sorry, I've got to go.
Oh, well, don't keep Miss Whiplash waiting.
I love you too.
Professor Krieger, in your opinion, what was the cause of death?
A hemorrhage, following a depressed fracture to the back of the skull. Bleeding was sudden and massive.
So are you in agreement with Dr. Durkin? It was consistent with her having fallen from a height.
All I'm prepared to say is it's consistent with falling backwards onto a hard surface. There are no fractures to the long bones of the arms or legs. With a fall from a second floor, you'd expect that in 90% of cases.
I'm assuming this is one of the 10%. What other injuries did you notice?
There was a fracture to the sternum, missed in the other reports.
Collision with something as she fell?
Perhaps. There are also some long scratches to the outside of the right thigh, which are unlikely to have been made during a fall. More significantly, there is a lateral 2-inch edema at the top of and inside the left thigh.
Is that suspicious?
In rape, it is. If you can imagine it where hands roughly force the legs apart. But I would expect to see more.
I hope Costas isn't wasting his money.
No chance of that yet. The check he sent me just bounced.
Could this mark on the thigh be made just as easily during the original autopsy in Jakarta?
In my opinion, it was made when she was alive.
But apart from these marks, there's little evidence of non-consensual sex.
I disagree. There are small abrasions to the inside of the vagina. There are clear scratches both beside and also on the labia. Also evidence of tearing to the vulva.
Stephen's lawyer says neither of them want to add anything to the statements made at the time.
Not offer their sperm samples. Surprise, surprise.
These were taken about a week after the party when they arrived back in Sydney.
That's Gwen Rogers, see?
Now, how does a nice stewardess from Weybridge get involved with them?
You don't know anything about women.
I don't understand why she's not been called yet.
Well, she's trying to get out of appearing. Doctor's note, traumatic experience, already made statements, blah, blah, blah.
That's the skill. She's the key to this. She knows.
We'll fight it.
Unfortunately, Greenaway doesn't like us. Has she been put under any pressure at all?
Possible. She's put herself on best as Sydney route so she can see McConnell. Don't worry, Costas. I'm going to get those bastards in court if I have to drug them and put them on a Qantas flight myself.
If someone were semi-conscious and passive, might there be less bruising to the thighs, as in this case?
Yes, possible.
Say if she'd been given what is commonly known as a date rape drug, like GHB.
Is there any evidence at all of this?
Well, there would be no evidence. These drugs are notoriously difficult to detect.
And therefore impossible to admit as evidence.
Unless someone saw it being administered.
Mr. Farmer, if and when we hear that evidence, you can make that comment. If the press benches will take note of this. There's been far too much sensationalizing as it is.
The court must know that one of the people at the party, Craig Stevens, has a conviction in Australia for possession of GHB.
Mr. Farmer, the point of this inquest is to find out how the deceased died, not to apportion blame or accuse someone who is not here to defend himself.
I don't know why he isn't here to defend himself.
Sit down, Mr. Farmer, or I shall exclude you from the court.
Well done. Grounds for appeal straight away.
Any, relevant questions, Mr. Farmer?
No.
Would like to be excluded. No more questions.
So where does all that get us?
We've flown a kite.
How far can you go before a report to the Bar Council?
If I go that far, we're in trouble. We need to find this Jimmy. If he wasn't the other bloke, he can clear himself with DNA.
We've checked lists of any crew that could have been at Jakarta at the same time. No Jameses, no Jimmy. And we've tried nicknames. No Greaveses, no Carters, no Whites. Why didn't you make more of the fractured sternum?
because I'm more interested in the scratches on the outside of the thighs.
Miss Rogers, Kostas Nikolaou, will you help me, please?
I made a statement a long time ago.
There were 16 people at that party, and nobody saw my daughter fall. How is that possible?
Leave me alone, please.
Are you trying to protect your boyfriend? Maybe he was on the balcony raping my daughter too.
Do you think I'd be with him if he was? Are you bloody mad?
He was aiding and abetting rape.
Look, I feel sorry for you.
You saw Craig Stevens with my daughter, didn't you? Did he put something in her drink?
No! This man is harassing me!
Okay, okay.
You come near me again, I'll call the police.
Come to the inquest. Tell the truth about my daughter. Please. Help me. Please.
Shall I take your helmet, sir? Sir?
Hello, Dad.
Can't afford a car. What are you having?
Half a lager.
2 malts, Winston. You're sailing close to the wind in this inquest, aren't you? I suppose your client's looking for a verdict of unlawful killing. The DPP won't start a murder trial for anything less.
So, why am I here?
Thought about a pension?
Sorry?
Any investments? You ought to have a decent sum put away someday. You'll never get a nice girl otherwise.
Thanks.
I suppose you'd buy at the top and sell at the bottom?
Actually, I've got a specialist broker. It's rather good.
My pension's a bloody disaster. Who are they?
It's just posh gambling, isn't it?
Come on. I had dinner with an old pal in the airline business. They're all suffering on account of this jihad lunatics.
Is this why you called me?
Obviously, what he told me was confidential.
So you just want to have a drink with me?
Anything negative about flight crew is bad for business. But they may be worrying about something more than just a rowdy party.
Go on.
They have gone to the trouble of getting a silk robin car. Unusual for an inquest. It's usually the riff-raff.
Your lady suggests dinner tomorrow evening. Your local Italian?
Tell her, okay.
Yes, I see.
Come on, Mum. Yes. Where's Costas?
He can't be here. He's with Amina.
Mr. Nikolaou, you have constantly ignored the Council's demands. When do you propose to pay them?
I have a problem, madam.
We know that, or you wouldn't be here.
My daughter was raped and murdered. Craig Stevens and Jeffrey McConnell killed her, and when I have justice, I will pay.
After they pushed me out of the room, I started to get worried about Sam. So I thought the best way would be to break the party up. So I went to reception to complain, but it didn't look like they were going to do anything.
And you stayed in reception?
Well, no. At one stage, I went to the house phone near reception. I phoned the concierge and pretended to be someone else complaining. Then I went up to the party again, and this time security were there. But Sam was gone.
No questions.
They continue on their journey towards the then this straight before they make that first turn. And it's slowly rounded by the length of the arm.
John Michael Saville. How's about that thing, guys and girls? Juicy. John Michael, a.k.a. Jimmy Saville, took over from a pilot who was ill and flew a Best Air 747 into Jakarta the day before the other crew. He flew back to London 3 hours after Sam's body was found.
Why wasn't he on the hotel register?
If they have a quick turnaround or if they want to save money, Best Air crews sometimes stay at a cheaper hotel near the airport.
I want a photo of him. Anyway, anyhow.
Henry, I'm a barrister, I'm not a runner.
Amina's not here today. I need to ID him. I'll get you an enclosure pass for Ascot. I'll tell you where Amina's local is.
Deal. So what's all this?
I cancelled the phone account. Too much temptation, no live commentary. Anyway, I've got the stock market now, haven't I? Thanks to Standard Rally and your Uncle Ted. I'd like to buy him a drink sometime.
Yeah, so would I. But he's in Africa most of the time.
Henry, you're probably in court. I know I'm seeing you tomorrow night for dinner, but I really advise you to get your money away from Standard Rally. If you can. They're complete crooks. Bye, Angel.
This book that's telling lies about me, how do I get hold of it?
You could nick the manuscript, Jack.
Comedy, Henry.
You'd have to ask either the author or the publisher, if you knew who they were.
I thought you knew.
Honestly, I haven't a clue who's writing this book.
You meet them. Say careful. Whatever was said about whatever happened to Mancini was said by people who were paid to say it by certain corrupt officers, and I don't want anything written in a book as a fact.
You can't break someone's legs for writing a book, can you?
No. But you get a brief and stuff them in court, give them a taste of their own medicine.
Don't trust the courts, Jack. Lawyers work there.
We've got a reaction. It's been on the rolling news since 6 this morning.
Yeah, I had sex with Samantha Nicolau. She'd had a row with a boyfriend. We were attracted to each other. When I last saw her, she was alive. I'm not in any way responsible for her death.
You'll get them, Henry. They'll come.
Can I speak to Amina alone, Costas?
Okay. What's wrong? We used the protection of the courts and we forced them to answer.
And you got your answer. Consensual sex. Those who live by the media die by the media.
I love this family, Henry. I'd do anything for them.
You've missed your chance of getting any help from Gwen Rogers. She's just reported Costas for harassment, and the coroner's decided she doesn't have to appear if she doesn't want to. Final.
Costas is obsessed. I don't know how to control him.
We've got to win this battle in court, not in the news of the world.
Hi, Charlie.
That's him. Thanks. Thanks. I thought I was going mad.
I remember a girl in a red top, but that's about all. I told them at the time that I thought that she'd gone home or gone out for a wee swim.
And at no time did you hear anybody cry out on the balcony?
We were playing music, and I think the balcony doors were closed. They had a sort of chiffony curtain thing.
I presume the balcony was the only private place in your room for sex?
No, I didn't see any of that.
I do object to this. There's been no suggestion from any of the witnesses that this party was an orgy.
There is forensic evidence that Samantha had intercourse with 2 men. Doesn't sound like the vicarage tea party, does it?
We have no evidence that the intercourse took place at the party.
My learned friend clearly doesn't listen to the news.
In any case, jury should ignore these insinuations.
May I ask if you know Jimmy Savile? Best Air pilot? John Savile, flies 747s to Jakarta. His nickname's Jimmy, isn't it?
What is the possible relevance of this? We are trying to establish cause of death.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. I know what my job is. Is this some sort of a joke, Mr. Farmer? On a par with the invisible and undetectable date rape drug?
Sir, I'm referring to the man referred to in Charlie's, Mr. Spiros' statement as Jimmy, who was never traced and who I believe may be an important witness. Was John Savile at the party?
May I talk to my client for a moment?
Got a photograph, if that's any help to anyone.
Well done. You stood cross with me.
Thank you, sir.
How is the presence of this man relevant to cause of death?
The only person whose movements are not accounted for called himself Jimmy, who we have heard invited the deceased to the party.
Did you see a Captain Savile with the deceased at the party?
No.
Was he at the party?
If he was, I didn't notice him.
We've heard that your hotel room had about 15 people in it.
I don't remember seeing him. I was drunk.
I think, as Captain Savile had better be summoned. If only to clear his good name.
Captain Savile is probably a long way away.
He should be able to find an aeroplane from somewhere.
Not seen your young lady recently, Mr. Farmer. Everything all right? She's the one for you. Your moon's in Virgo, and hers is banging Leo. I can firm up the details if you give me the exact times of day.
I was born at 4 in the afternoon.
Epping.
Yes. Mrs. Graham came by stalk. It dropped her on her head.
She was born in Ibiza. She told me. And her birthday's marked in your diary.
I told me you'd be here. Why are you angry with me?
Costas doesn't need a barrister. He needs a PR.
You're the man for me. Trust me. We can't be wrong going after Stevens, can we? Could this pilot have killed her? It might explain why the crew are covering up for him.
It would help us if Costas hadn't blown her chance of getting Gwen Rogers into court.
She might come if she's goosed.
Don't lean on her, please.
I know what I'm doing. You're the best. That's why I chose you. I need you.
Gotta be careful here. Ah! Ah!
Thanks for dinner, arsehole.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh. Well, the Baron had to go to Zurich, and I had a couple of lobster, so...
Turf Wars, a history of London gangs since 1600. Criminology.
Subtitle, The Law and Punishment.
How's it going?
Nearly finished the first draft. How are you doing?
We've adjourned for a couple of days. Kicking my heels.
Your book?
Book?
Oh, come on. I knew you were lying. You're like a schoolboy. What are you writing?
It's Bracewell, not me.
Paul Bracewell?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, he said it was you. To all of us. You were there. Is the whole world writing books?
Jack Delaney. Ring a bell? Got off for the Mancini killing.
Is he alive?
He's heard all the old tales are going to resurface and doesn't want the nasty stuff coming out.
Well, what's he bothered about? He did the world a favour. Mancini was horrible.
Yeah. Horrible enough to have his tongue cut out and inserted in his rectum before he bled to death.
I don't believe they ever found the body, did they?
Is this going to figure in Turf Wars?
A small part of a long book. But people would think I was inept if I didn't mention it. It's well known.
Not to his new wife, apparently. Could stop the book.
The allegations are in the public record. And I'm a Queen's Counsel.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
My God, Henry. That's McConnell. We've cracked it. We've got them.
No, we haven't. If he's come all this way, they've got an alibi.
Run that to Mr. Towers for me, would you, Tim?
Certainly.
Thanks. Advocates, they're all different. Mr. Griffiths used to stalk them like a hunter. Mr. Carmody would make them feel small.
What about Mr. Farmer?
Oh, he's lovely. Gives them a false sense of security. Mrs. Steen seduces them and then cuts their throats. Oh, are you back to work early? Finished already?
Oh, only first draft stage. Publishers' reaction, very encouraging. The words paperback and bestseller were floated around.
I've had to turn away some very lucrative business, miss.
I agree with the last Lord Chancellor about one thing. Greed. That's the problem with this profession.
Well, we didn't all marry millionaires, did we?
Cleo, would you cite R v Spratt in malicious wounding?
It was a wild party, was it?
Everyone was out of it.
And you met the deceased there, did you?
Yeah. My mate Craig got off with her.
When was the last time you saw the deceased alive?
2-ish. I left with Gwen, my girl, and Craig and Samantha. And we went down to the spa. What? The pool had been drained, so we didn't swim.
He's got to be lying.
Why? Why would he come here and lie and risk being exposed? So, if this is true, it contradicts almost everything we've heard. How could she have fallen off the balcony at 2:07? If it's true.
It's the first time my clients heard the exact time of death. In the light of this, we'd like an adjournment.
I've just been in the library tidying up some research, and I get a text message from my publisher. This Delaney character slapped an injunction on us.
Are you named?
No, but his lawyers want to read the proofs. Well, they could hold it up indefinitely, and I was hoping to have it out for Christmas.
Why don't you just cut out the offending passages?
Is this Jack Delaney a friend of yours, Henry?
Well, he drinks in my local.
Why did you want to see me, Gwen?
This is my father. And this is my solicitor, Mr. Craven. It's all right, Paul. I want to be alone for a minute. Why did you send me those photographs of Jeff McConnell and his wife?
Maybe someone's trying to tell you something. Don't they look happy?
They could have been taken at any time.
Did McConnell and his friend Craig Stevens threaten you? That why you got a sickie? Why is McConnell over here?
He came for Craig. It's like an honor thing. Childhood friends. The girl's father. I'm sorry for him.
You reported him?
He scared me.
Costas Nicolaou is a decent man who's lost his daughter. It's your Aussie pals you should be frightened of. They're dealers, Gwen.
No, they didn't kill her.
You're wasting my time.
They can prove it.
Who killed her?
I don't know. When I saw her by the pool, she was alive.
Okay, Gwen. Thank you.
What's in here?
Did he tell you about that? Okay, I'm going.
You are John Saville, and you are a pilot working for Best Air. Is that right?
Yes. I met Samantha Nicolaou at a party at the Coroner Hotel. We talked on the balcony for approximately half an hour. I didn't consume any alcohol, nor did I see her consume any, nor take any drugs. When I left the party, she was alive. I arrived at the Gulf Hotel, close to the airport, at 12:45 a.m. I can prove this if you wish. I paid my bill at that time because I was leaving fairly early in the morning. I piloted a Best Air 747 which left Jakarta at 9 a.m. for Gatwick Airport.
And I presume when you left, you didn't know what had happened to the deceased?
No. When the verdict of accidental death was announced, I didn't feel it necessary to come forward.
Thank you.
May I ask Mr. Saville if he had sexual intercourse with the deceased?
Mr. Saville has made a true statement which is relevant to all matters relating to cause of death. He does not feel he needs to answer any questions.
And particularly not that sort. From what I've heard, I'm satisfied Mr. Saville can prove he was nowhere near when the deceased died. And you are sailing close to the wind, Mr. Farmer.
May I ask if the deceased was incapable when you had intercourse with her?
Mr. Farmer.
Ask him if we'll take a test.
No point.
Ask him, please.
Would Mr. Saville be prepared to take a DNA test?
My client does not wish to answer that question.
Nor does he have to. Mr. Farmer, I have told you I shall report you, and that is what I'm going to do. What state was the deceased in when you left by the swimming pool?
I won't say she was stone cold sober, but fine, you know. She was sitting in a lounger.
Did you say what she was going to do?
Yeah, she wanted to find her boyfriend.
Thank you. Mr. Carr? Mr. Farmer?
Can I ask Mr. McConnell why he prevented Charlie Spiros getting in the room?
His girl was screwing me, mate. There was a big fella having fun too, but I only saw his back.
Liar. Bloody liar.
Mr. Nicolau, you must be quiet.
Your friend raped her. Raped her!
Mr. Farmer, if you can't control your client, I will have him excluded from the court for the rest of the inquest.
I think I'm able to clear up an important matter.
Okay.
Don't you ever use your phone? Standard Rally are shysters.
Daft. They're regulated. FSA is on the forms.
When you try to sell, they'll insist that you buy Dodge shares in something else. You haven't any certificates because you've never owned any shares. Are you all right?
I've got to be back in court.
I have a computer record of an order and a statement from the food boy confirming he delivered meals to Stephen's room on the 9th floor and positively identifying both Mr. McConnell and Mr. Stevens.
The time, in my opinion, makes it impossible for them to have been anywhere near the deceased at 2:07.
I hope this will be a lesson to lawyers who feel they can ride roughshod over the rules of the inquest to make unfounded accusations.
In the light of what we have heard, I beg leave tomorrow to introduce some photographic evidence, which I hope will help the court. I'm sorry. This may complicate things.
I don't want complications. I know she was raped. And his coroner is as bad as a rapist. He doesn't want the truth to come out.
How can we prove this date rape drug? We can't. Maybe she was a foolish girl with men, but I loved her. And I want her to be at peace.
I want the man who killed my daughter.
This is my money.
You made a pig's ear of that inquest, didn't you? Got too close to your client. Started to believe everything he told you. Grieving, poor fella. Wanted to blame someone, anyone.
What's cheered you up?
That investment firm of yours gave me some good advice. All my shares have rocketed. Thinking of taking my winnings. Yours not too good, then?
Have you had any certificates?
I don't know, can't remember. Why?
The position of the body, as indicated by the Jakarta police, shows it directly under the balcony of room 216. If we look at this photograph of the hotel, you'll see a drain pipe running down the outside of the building. Disappears behind a wall and then reappears at the base of the wall. Now, if we look carefully, this photograph of the body, you'll see the drain pipe well to the left of the deceased's head, which will put the body directly under the balcony of room 218.
How would you explain this?
I suggest Sam Nicolau didn't fall from the balcony of room 216 at all, that it was a false assumption made by the Indonesian police and accepted by everyone, including me.
These events in the past, Henry, not real. Mythology. The icons of crime.
I'm sure Fred Mancini'd agree with you if he was alive.
I heard he'd gone to Paraguay.
Oh, not really in a flyover somewhere.
These authors, they don't know nothing. Some judge says someone's an evil bastard and they believe him. For example, Alfie, a gentleman. Reputation undeserved. Yeah. There's only one sad event that
didn't mean to do him in either. Some friends of his were trying to straighten somebody out once, and I reckon they got a bit too far. Know what I mean? Cardiac arrest. So, Alfie gives him the kiss of life and ends up caving in his chest. You all right, Henry? So, who is this genius? Tell me his name.
Oh, it's a she, actually. I thought maybe I could arrange a meeting.
Did you see the deceased leave the party?
Yes. She left with me and Craig Stevens and McConnell.
And where did you go?
We went to the swimming pool, but it was empty. Craig and Jeff wanted something to eat. I wanted to go to bed. So we went upstairs together. Sam didn't want to move. We left her.
Mr. Farmer?
Was the deceased capable of walking?
She was a bit unsteady on her feet.
Who at the party suggested a swim?
Craig Stevens. He kept saying, let's have a swim. And then when we couldn't, he wanted Samantha to take a shower, but she wouldn't.
Why did he want that?
I don't know.
Was he suggesting they go for a shower together?
No.
Why did you bring that up, Gwen? The shower? Do you know why the police advise rape victims not to take a shower, however dirty they feel?
Because, yes. Bodily fluids.
Bodily fluids, yes. And in the deceased case, we know it was the bodily fluids of two men. What do you know? What did you see?
I want...
Go on.
I saw Craig Stevens put something in her drink.
In the deceased's drink?
Yes.
Are you sure? What did you see exactly?
He had a tiny bottle, and he emptied it into a glass of Campari. Then he took it out to her on the balcony.
Henry, I'm really, really sorry about Uncle Ted.
Easy come, easy go.
My father always said he was a genius with money.
And your dad was right.
We're there. We will get Stevens and his pilot. The DPP will order a trial.
There's clear evidence they weren't near Sam when she received the blow to the head.
But this drug, this rape...
Would have been a factor, but there's something else. If I'm right, it may not be what you want to hear. Professor Krieger, you talked about the absence of fractures to the arms and legs in a fall from the second floor.
Yes, that is unusual.
Could the deceased's fatal injury have been caused by falling backwards from a lesser height?
Possibly.
Say, into the deep end of an empty swimming pool?
If force was involved, certainly.
A push?
Yes, that would add considerably to the force of the blow.
And after a certain time, the heart would arrest?
Indeed, there would be a great deal of bleeding and shock.
Could anyone get the heart going again?
People know about heart massage, but in general they don't do the right thing. They're too gentle, usually.
And the scratches on the thigh, you say, could have been made by dragging the body on concrete, like the concrete path near to the pool where the body was found?
Yes.
Getting back to the heart, to get it going again, you'd have to hit in the right place and hit hard.
Yes.
Such a blow might easily fracture the sternum.
Yes.
And somebody with a medical background would have the confidence to do it.
Yes, a doctor or someone with proper medical knowledge.
I'd like permission to recall a witness.
Why?
The witness has given a statement inconsistent with his evidence. You loved Sam and you were going to marry her, weren't you?
Yes.
But you had a bit of an argument that night about where you were going to stay. I'm referring to the statement you made to the Jakarta police.
Not an argument. A disagreement.
Which ended with Sam going on her own to a party in one hotel and you going off into the night to find another one, right?
But I found a hotel and I went to the party to get her.
And in the next half an hour, Sam suffered the injury that led to her death. Why did you change your story about what happened in those 30 minutes?
I didn't.
You told the Jakarta police, in the statement I have here, that you were in reception the whole time.
Well, more or less.
You said in this court that you left reception to make a phone call. Can you explain that?
I was trying to give as full a picture as possible.
But you didn't to the Jakarta police. You do admit you changed your story?
No.
If you tell two different versions of events, surely one of them must be untrue.
One is more complete.
Where were the public phones in the hotel? Can you remember? Let me refresh your memory. Here, in a back lobby between reception and the swimming pool, so that anybody in this area could see people going in and coming out of the swimming pool. Have you nearly qualified as a doctor, Mr. Spiros?
No. Yes, but I...
Did you find Sam in the swimming pool and try to revive her?
No.
Did you have a row with the deceased by the swimming pool?
No, I didn't.
Did you push her into the empty pool?
No, I didn't push her. I wasn't there.
You're lying. I know you are lying now. Look at me, Mr. Nicolau.
His conscience if he did that.
Because he's more scared of Costas Nicolau than he is of prison.
There are 3 possible verdicts. Accidental death, unlawful killing, and if you're not certain of either, an open verdict. What is the verdict of you all?
An open verdict.
What were you doing? Did you screw him? Did you? What? Did you screw him? Slut. Did you enjoy it?
λυσάδι και θα σου δει να λύσεις τον πεπαιδημένο. Αυτός και την ψυχή της δούλης σου σώζουν ανάπαυση.
Shitty, meaningless, wasteful, with an end of sorts.
Cheers, brother.
What exactly is this party for?
Cleo, I'd like you to meet Jack Delaney.
How nice to meet you.
Jim, you could say you could do with a drink. They're trying to give this stuff away. I don't believe it.
Professional misconduct.
Love at first sight.
Yeah, you should have told him she's a silk.
How did you two get together?
He drinks in my local.
You all right?
A bit raw.
Henry? 100 Best Legal Jokes by Henry Farmer and Paul Bracewell.
What's the difference between a dead snake on the M25 and a dead lawyer?
There's skid marks in front of the snake.
Did it in my spare time.